Let us learn more about the first organizational unit, client. Let us look at the definition of client first. Generally, a person or an organization using services of a professional person or an organization is known as a client. In the world of SAP, the term client has a special meaning. Client is the highest organizational unit in the SAP system. As per SAP, clients are defined as self-contained, meaning complete and independent commercial, organizational, and technical units within an SAP system. Using a web browser or GUI, one can log into a client in SAP to actually access and use the system. Organizational, master, and transactional data are maintained on the client level. The main objective of the client is to keep this data completely isolated from the other clients, meaning the data in one client is independent of the data in another client. For example, a master record created in one client cannot be used in another client. In an SAP system, there can be multiple clients. You can think of a client as a view of the database. Certain configurations and master record details in the SAP system are maintained on the client level, which means that the specific setting is valid or the master record is used for the whole client. In the picture, you see a dev system. Dev is a short form for development system. So you can see we have one dev system, and under this dev system we have two clients, client 100 and client 200. And under each client we have separate user master records, company code data, vendors, customers, and business transaction data. But both the clients use the same data dictionary tables, ABAP programs, and printers. Since these are cross-client, when we say cross-client, if you make changes to these items, it applies to all the clients in the system. ABAP programs are nothing but SAP programs. ABAP is a language in which these programs are written, normally known as ABAP programs. Now let's look at a sample system landscape. System landscape is the arrangement of systems. System landscape contains all the SAP systems that you have installed. It can consist of several system groups and are linked by transport routes, meaning changes are made at a lower level and then transported to production system. Configuration changes are not allowed directly in production system, but there can be certain exceptions. Here is an example of dev system, and in this box we have three clients. Client 10 is configuration client. Client 20 is sandbox. Client 30 is dev testing or unit testing. The configuration client is where the functional consultants do the configuration. The sandbox is more of an experimental system or experimental client, where we can experiment new functionalities. Dev test system or dev test client is normally used for IT testing or unit testing. When the functional consultants complete the configuration, they do the testing in this client. Another system in the landscape is quality system or staging system. It may also have multiple clients. In this example, we have client 10, which is quality test system, 20 training client, 30 training to client. 20 is a training client and 30 is also a training client. And the most important system in the landscape is production system, or normally known as PRD system. Normally, we only have one production client, but more than one client can also be configured. Once the dev testing is complete and successful, the changes can be transported to the quality system using transport request, and the business users do the testing in quality system, and if they approve the changes, then the changes can be moved to production. If any further changes or issues to be fixed, then a new transport request is used to make the changes and follow the same route to transport the changes to quality and production system. We will learn more about transport management in the future sessions. Client setup is done by the Basis or NetWeaver team. There are important client settings that we should know. Let us review the client settings. Let us go to the T code SCC4, and you can see we have multiple clients in this system. So I will go into the client which I am using. You can see the client number, client name, city, last changed by, date, logical system, currency. The currency used here in this setting is USD, and this currency is known as group currency. And client role is currently set as customizing. So this is a customizing client or configuration client. We have other options here in the drop down like demo, training and education, production, SAP reference, and test. SAP reference systems are not modifiable. These are used by SAP. And below you have different sections: changes and transports for client specific objects, cross-client object changes, client copy and comparison tool protection, CAT and ECAT restrictions, and other restrictions. We will discuss these details in the next sessions, but it is very important to know the first option, which is changes and transport for client specific objects. Currently, automatic recording of changes is ticked. This means whenever we make changes in the system and save the changes, system will record these changes in a transport request, and those recorded transport requests are sent to quality system and production system later. The first option is changes without automatic recording, meaning the changes are not saved in a transport request and hence cannot be transported to the higher level systems.